The Lord is our shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh I lie down in a green pastures. Him leadeth I beside still water. Them him restoreth I soul. Him leadeth I in the path of righteousness for him name's sake. Yea! Though I rasta go walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I can't fear no evil, for thy rod and thy staff them comforted I and I. Oh, no, prepare a table before I in the presence of our enemy, them who know anointed I head with no oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy, I go follow I all the days of I Ivan, and I go dwell in the house of the Lord God. Kadamawe gromabea tela exact beer tanaista lena bashante shante 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 Kadamawe gromabea tela. This is the Black Pot, aka Kuku Shonemo, where we speak truth to power and my name. Black Rasta. Now, in every traditional African home, there is a black pot, and each time this black pot sits on the fire, there is something super sumptuous cooking. Yes, in all its palatability, food. But remember, the ingredients of so many different types, shapes, sizes, aromas, and even flavors have to go through a certain sacrifice, putting aside all their differences and allowing themselves to be subjected to some good amount of heating. In the aftermath, food is produced. Ironically, they do not even partake in the eating of the food. It is us who do, the eaters. Yet every time, the ingredients and the black pot will rise to the occasion to permit the cooking of food that they do not participate in enjoying. Yet every time they will do that. My brother, my sister, what lesson can we derive from this? It's a lesson of selflessness. It's a lesson of sacrifice, a lesson of generational thinking. Any nation that is not ready to sacrifice for this precious nation, any nation that is not generationally thinking, any nation that is not selfless is not befitting of being called a nation. It is an empty box. Every nation thrives on selflessness. Every nation thrives on sacrifice. That is why we are here in the first place. Ancestors had to fight tooth and nail to be able to bring us here. And history is so clear about this. My brother, my sister, that is why we trumpet this every now and then. Africa is one continent where selflessness has become a very big problem. Sacrifice has become a big problem. The least pressure gets Africans running out of Africa and running to some other different places for comfort. They do not care what happens to the continent afterwards. This is not befitting of human beings who say they are real citizens of a continent or a nation. My brother, our ancestors never ran away from us. They stayed with us, went through all the problems, sacrificed. Sometimes they even laid down their lives and were executed. All because they wanted to bring us here. In fact, it behoves us as a people to also stand on our 2 feet and fight to keep this land and keep it in all its entirety for the next generation to come and generations yet to come. The way our ancestors did. If we cannot add any value to our land, let's not take away any value. It hurts me every now and then when I think about Lampedusa. I see so many Africans go through the desert all because they are running away from themselves. Africans, the melanated African. On the deserts of Libya, We get shot and killed by Tuaregs and much more. And when we go on boats, on those deadly voyages, we get ourselves swallowed by the waves of the sea. Fishes are ready to swallow us. They gobble us. Every now and then, we still do not stop going on those hazardous voyages. My brother, my sister, in the days we're forced to go, in the days we're captured and forced onto ships, today we are busily running away from this beautiful continent that we have demonized. I do not know what our ancestors have to do for us again. And if you believe in God, I do not know what you would intend or expect God to do again. You have the gold, you have the diamond, you have the bauxite, you have the lithium. Any new resource that is discovered by the world, we have that in Africa. Long before it is even discovered, it is here in Africa. Yet it's never been enough for us. We have allowed ourselves to be controlled by demons, urchins, and wicked people. We produce all the commercial plants and fruits and vegetables and everything that you can think about that has some value. All the cocoa comes from here. The most beautiful, the sweetest. Yet cocoa farmers are the poorest in this country. We have all the gold and the diamond. Yet what we get from the gold and the diamond is a paltry ridicule. I sit back and I look at my continent and tears come down my face every now and then. Prayer is not enough. Affirmative action. We need radical action to be able to keep away all these neo-colonialists and all the people with the mindset of the colonialists. I cry every now and then, my brother, my sister, when I think about my beautiful continent. And when I look at my little baby growing up, I cry. Sometimes I go on my knees like a madman and I cry and beg for forgiveness that I brought them here at a time that we all have lost it in terms of patriotism and loyalty. I cry every now and then to the maker and the creator, and I continue asking the same questions that I already have answers for. Why Africa? My brother, it looks like the more we have, the poorer we get. The more we travel, the closer we are to the beginning. I look at myself and I ask the same questions. Sometimes I feel that I need to return to where I came from. This country was built on a very powerful preamble. And what was the preamble? There was an empire called the ancient Ghana Empire. It was a powerful kingdom that had it all. In fact, we had people coming from other countries to come and learn the success story of the great Ghana Empire. At independence, Nkrumah told himself, if this kingdom was that powerful, we want to replicate, better still, let us duplicate it. My brother, my sister, we called our nation Ghana because we wanted to duplicate the success of that great ancient kingdom, whose very first king was called Dinga Sise, and the very last one was called Tunkaminin. My brother, my sister, I do not want to bore you with the power of the ancient Ghana kingdom. According to history, there was not a single poor person living in the ancient Ghana Empire. Can you imagine a nation that doesn't have a single poor person? People were coming in and out. Now, if you live in a country or a kingdom where there's not even one single soul that is poor, what do you want to travel out there to look for? Maybe you are just going out there to blow away time. Today, my brother, my sister, our indigents and citizens are not running out because they want to blow away time. They are running out from the motherland that they now see as hellish. It is on this note that I've decided to go around the whole of Ghana. A time will come when I will go around the whole of Africa, and that message is very simple, the message of patriotism. My brother, Every time I look at our citizens, I cry, oh God. I go to the schools and I ask them, why is this country called Ghana? Not one school has been able, in fact, to come to the rescue. Why are we called Ghanaians? Is there a reason? What does it mean to say Ghana? And all the schools we've been to, there has been a strong struggle. So you live in a country called Ghana. You don't know why it is called Ghana, and you proudly carry a name that you don't understand. How can you represent a thing that you don't understand? How can you represent a name that you are called that you do not understand? Can you respond to a name that you don't understand? No wonder some of you are called Joyce. Some of you are called Elizabeth. A lot of you are called names like Monica, Jonathan, and all those damnable, terrible names that you don't understand. How can you respond to a name whose meaning you don't know? You are called John. What is the meaning of John? Then you follow like a John in Ghana. You call ha 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 like a robot. John. Then you respond. What is the meaning? Our ancestors named us after powerful beings and powerful energies. Every name they gave to us had an origin, had a core that was representing some form of power. Names like Kumburwa. Names like Mawuli, names like Emefa, names like that, so powerful and strong. Names like Napari, Nyakse, powerful names like that. Today you dash away all those names and you go after Monica, Elizabeth, Severina, Katrina, Lordina. You must be crazy. You must entirely have gone out of your senses. How can you push away power and go after weakness? This is what I go around the schools and I tell them. And they are shocked to hear this message. A lot of them shed tears because they have seen, even before they reach there, that it is a hopeless battle. But we are giving them all the optimism to be able to succeed. Because the great Marcus Garvey told us that before you start a race, oh yes, even before that race starts, if you have hope, you have optimism, you have won that race twice before you even started. But if you don't have that, trust me, you have failed and lost even before the race starts. My brother, my sister, it is so dear to my heart, the level of patriotism in our country. How our people are disregarding the nation. I have said it time and again. Listen, you can have God himself become president of this country. Let him provide you with everything you need, including toothbrushes and toothpaste. Anything you want, you just have to say, kun fayakun, and it happens. We will destroy the nation because we are not used to the culture of maintenance. We are greedy, stupidly greedy. You go into a hotel, and the first thing the person going to the hotel thinks about is that he has paid for the room. Therefore, he would leave it as messy as possible. After all, he paid. Somebody would have to come in. I go to America. I go to England. I go to some other places, and I see friends go into a hotel room. Once they get into the room, they keep it as nicely as possible. And when you ask them, they tell you, you see the way that I came in to meet this room is the same way I want to leave it for the next person. But of course, I know somebody would have to come and tidy it up. And when they are leaving, they leave some money on the bed most of the time for whoever will be coming to tidy up the place. They see it as a responsibility. They need to keep it clean. But because they cannot keep the place as clean as it was, they will keep it near clean. And the person who will come and complete the work, they leave some kind of token for them. The American system encourages what is known as the tip system. First time I got into America, before the plane landed, I was told, this is a country that thrives on the tip system. You know what that means? A lot of the restaurants do not pay waiters and waitresses. It is the people who come in to buy or to patronize the services that pay by way of tips. In other words, when you come and sit down and you have a drink, And depending on how you are treated or depending on how you were received, what we call, my brother, my sister, hospitality, then you could just call this person and say, oh, thank you for your services. Take this as a tip. I sit in a taxi and I have to give up tips and all that. Sometimes I read it on their faces when I give them a small tip. They would have wished to say, keep it, man, for your dog. But they still take it sometimes because I am an African who cannot afford those tips. My brother, I wish this happened in this country. People, we are paying hefty amounts of money to take care of our system. Trust me, they feel like they have to take bribes to complete whatever. They will not render the services that we pay them legally to do. They want a bribe before they do this. Yet in another country, some portions of it thrive on tips. So people are in a hurry to give the best of services whilst we are here degrading everything. The government can provide everything. We will destroy all of them, steal from the government, and we think, in fact, we feel so entitled to stealing. We feel so entitled to stealing in our country. And it makes me cry every time. These days, hardly would you find a man leave his phone in a taxi and get it back. In my days, it was so popular. These days, you leave your money in a taxi. My brother, forget it. It has become money for the gods. Nobody is returning that money. These days, in my days, they said hard work pays. That's what we said. Today, laziness and greed would rather pay more. Children of rich people who did nothing in school in terms of brains, they didn't have it. They are in top positions, whilst people who struggled and burned the midnight oil, my brother, are still languishing in the doldrums. It hurts me, my brother, but things can change. We are going. We have already done half of Ghana. Going. Sometimes you see me on the market space, in the market space, dancing. And when the people come to watch me, a show that they should have paid me to watch, they see it for free. And then I take the opportunity to speak to them about patriotism. I am on the streets like a madman talking patriotism. It might not make sense today, but several years after we are gone, they will say that there was a prophet who walked on earth and he was a man who saw the problem and tried to nip it in the bud. Unfortunately, many of our predecessors did not listen to him. My brother, when we go around, we spend money to travel around. When we go around, my brother, we spend money. I go with a team. We spend money on fuel. Sometimes we don't even have time to rest our heads for even an hour or two. We need you to be able to support us. We have been discouraged a lot by companies in Ghana. About 120 companies we wrote to. 20 of them had the courtesy to respond, and all of them said, sorry, we can't help. At least they responded. The other over 80 do not see why they should respond. And I sit back and say to myself, this is a very terrible precedent. My friends in Burkina Faso, next door country, they write to companies and they always get response. It might not be the response that you're waiting for, but they respond. South Africa, they deal with the email system. No matter what you send, they respond. In England, they do that. In America, you write a letter to your mayor, they must respond. Not in my country, Ghana. No, the big man never responds to any letter. He's too big and too busy to respond. He has 1 million letters sitting on his table. My brother, from time immemorial, not one of them has been responded to. He has no time to respond to anything. How can we grow? These are the things, my brother, that hurt me. That is why I am not happy about the new crop of youth that we are bringing up, my brother. It hurts me. I am so terribly hurt. And you can see the screen blinking left, right, and center. I am being warned that doomsday is about to hit me. We live in a country that has too much, yet too little. It's so hurting. There was a time we had so much power, we were begging people to use the power. Today, there's no power because of greedy politicians. They won't fix the power problem. No, they will keep the money rather for campaigning. After all, it is the highest bidder who gets the position of the president, not the man with the common sense. My brother, if you want to support us on this nationwide program, you can send us some cash. We would thankfully come back to you and say thank you. Soon you are going to see names scrolling like we do every day. Those who have supported us. One brother who has done so well, he has sent us money 6 times since we started. My brother, Nilati, that's his name. 6 times. Before I came into the studio, he had sent us another 1,000 Ghana cedis. You can send it via our bank account. We will accept it. It doesn't matter if it's 1 cedi or 2 pennies. It doesn't matter if it's 1 penny or $1. It doesn't matter if it's 1 pound or 1 cent. It doesn't matter. The most important thing is that that is what you can afford. And that is what you've been pushed and moved to do. Our nation must be rescued. We are not counting on politicians to do that. Neither are we counting on spirits to do that. The spirits are in the spirit world. We are in the human world. It takes human solutions to deal with human problems. No spirit shall descend and solve our problems for us. That's why I am pleading with you to see that we're doing a good thing. You should follow us. Some of the documentaries are already out there. You can find them on our channels. Watch them and see what we do on these journeys. A lot of the time we fast. Nobody has any time to eat. But we are doing it for our motherland. The days of patriotism must return. The days of the ancient Ghana Empire must return. We must instill in our leaders the discipline of the true African leader, not the brainwashed Harvard leader. No. We need the true spirit of Africa. I apologize for the long introduction. My name is Blakk RASTA. This is the Blakk Pot, aka Coco Show. And today we have 4 stories to look at. We're going to be very brief. Love it, my youth. Number 1. And it says, BAWUMIA claims victory over ghosts. If there's one man who has sworn tooth and nail to fight ghosts in Ghana, then it's this man here, BAWUMIA. He's one of the biggest hypocrites we have in this country. He's the vice president of this nation. He has no shame. All he wants is power. When he goes to the Christian churches begging for votes, he tells them he's a Christian. And he misquotes the Bible like he did last week. The other day he went into the mosque. A video is making the rounds. My brother, he couldn't even sit properly as a Muslim. He fell because he's not used to sitting like a Muslim. This was the man who was touted as the solution to the economic problems of Ghana. He was brought in from oblivion. And he came in and worsened our situation. This man here is called BAWUMIA. His party has decided to pick him as the flag bearer. So he wants to be president. He relegated the position of the vice president to the mates on the trotro. He said he was only a vice president and he was a mate to a driver. So he couldn't do anything or much. But when he's voted into power, he will do the right thing as the president. That's an insult to the integrity of the office of the vice president and to the sensibilities of Ghanaians. I don't like this man one bit, and I've made it known to him until they change. And I made it clear, should Ghanaians vote this man into power, I will say bye-bye to you for the 4 years that he will be president in this country. I will not insult myself to vote this man into power after what he has done. He says He has conquered some ghosts. Run it, my youth. Watch this. And it's from My Joy Online. It says, government has removed all ghost names from the public payroll system. Run it, my youth. Watch this. It says, Vice President Dr. BAWUMIA says the government has removed all ghost names from the public payroll system. His announcement comes 2 months after the Controller and Accountant General, Kwesi Kwani Busumpim, made a similar declaration. Now, Mr. Kwani Busumpim, who was speaking at the 2024 Controller and Accountant General Department annual conference in Kumasi in the Ashanti region, said payroll database has been an active database all these years. What it means is that we've gone through a process of putting intervention in place to make sure the payroll database is credible, and that there would not be any instance where we would find an unauthorized person existing on a payroll. And watch, the word is unauthorized person existing on the payroll and benefiting from the government's resources. Dash it away. You see, I like it when he said unauthorized person. We live in a country where members of parliament can receive salaries twice, thrice. What happened to that issue? When MPs were mistakenly paid twice and thrice, what happened to that? We live in a country where politicians come into power and they put their family and friends on the payroll by virtue of the fact that, oh, they are family members. They don't need to work. You are on the payroll because your brother is the minister. Your boyfriend is the minister of whatever. They put your name there. You don't have to work. Just wait. When the month ends, go and take the salary of a teacher. Though you have never taught a single alphabet in any of the schools. So when the man here says he has dealt with all ghost names, and then the Controller and Accountant General himself comes out and says, now no unauthorized name can go onto the register, I think I understand better that. There are two different things. Ghost names are illegal names on the payroll. Unauthorized names are names that authorities have decided not to put there. Hallelujah. You see the difference? Illegality is not totally out of the payroll, because a big man can still insert the name of his brother or sister or uncle or whoever and still take the poor people's money. After all, it's been authorized. Do you see the difference? My brother, I must first and foremost applaud the Vice President for at least dealing with the ghost names in one way or the other. Ghost names have been a strong contributory factor to the poverty in this country. Poverty of teachers like my mother. Poverty of teachers like my father. My mother was a teacher for several years. She never ever rose to the point or near the point of riches. When she was dying, she made it clear. She said, my children, I don't have much to give to you when I finally go. But the little that I've been able to get as a genuine hardworking teacher, I will share amongst you all. Do not be disappointed that it's not my match. Be happy that it came from clean sweat. Anytime I say this, it brings tears into my eyes. We didn't understand. But when she died, and then the social security, what started calling us. And I went. They gave me 12,000 Ghana cedis as the firstborn child. I remember this. 12,000 Ghana for all the work that my mother did. Close to 40 years of work as a teacher. That day I took the money and tears were running down my eyes. And the social security workers came around me, begging me and saying that don't worry, your mother will rest in peace. I said, I'm not crying. because my mother died. I'm crying because she lived and worked in a country that has no respect for hard work. My brother, how many more people are working like that and ghosts are stealing their money? Sadly, when my mother died, 4 months after she was dead, they started paying her salary. That means the authorities were not aware that she had died. So for 4 months, they still paid her as a teacher. I wrote to them and told them, my mother died. Please, the money that you are paying to where you are paying to a ghost. If you want to reward her and her children for the hard work that she did that you underrated, I understand. But we will not be part of this nonsense. Are you still paying my dead mother? So, thank you for drawing our attention to it. We are going to retrieve all the money. About a year after she died, the 4 months salary was still sitting in there. Till one day, I decided to go to the bank and find out if the money was truly there. And when I checked, it came out that another accountant there had stolen the money from the dead woman's account. The accountant had been able to tell that the woman had died. He therefore went into the account and stole the money. How did we find out? By investigation. We live in a country where there's an accident, people are dead, and people who come there as rescuers, they search their pockets and steal the dead people's money. People who need to be sent to the hospital because they are in critical conditions, we steal their mobile phones and steal other things from them. And instead of taking them to the hospital, we leave them there to die. Are you a human being or are you a demon? BAWUMIA says ghosts are out. Thankfully. But how many more ghosts would you authorize onto the payroll? That's the question. It's only patriotism that can solve this. Patriotism will force you to love your country no matter what. Will force you to do the right thing, all in the name of your nation, no matter what. Dash it away. Come here, my youth. Next story. So Nilae Kwashi Kojo Mitra Mifashe, the 7th, has given us a 6th donation of 1,000 Ghana cedis. He lives abroad. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Next story, my youth. Watch this. Ghana wastes billions at scholarship secretariat. This is a long story. Come here. Hey. Thanks so much to Manasseh Azure Awuni of the 4th Estate. We are getting some dangerous information coming out. And this story is written by Seth J. Bokwe and Thelma Amedeku. These are the 2 people who wrote this story. My brother, written today, published today, April 9, 2024. Am I right? Scholarships Bonanza. How Scholarship Secretariat blows millions abroad on courses available in Ghana. It's a long story, but listen. Gilbert ADDO, not his real name, completed the University of Cape Coast in 2019 and obtained a cumulative grade point average of 3.97 out of 4, a super first class. My God. With a burning desire to be an academic, he applied for a master's program in the same university and secured admission, but his parents were too broke to pay his tuition fee. Listen. Rich in grace, but poor in finance, he turned to the state for support to fund his academic dream. He applied to the Scholarship Secretariat for 4,000 Ghana cedis, an equivalent of 237 pounds today, to support him to do his master's. He didn't receive the funding. Eventually, he used the same credentials to apply for a PhD program in an American university. On the basis of his academic record, he was given a full scholarship to pursue his PhD. Listen attentively. Ghana refused him. He applied to a university in America. He quickly was taken, and then he went to do his PhD. It's the same documents I used to apply for admission in UCC for masters. The same CGPA. Nothing new. He told the fourth estate. After receiving complaints from people like Gilbert and other frustrated applicants who applied for support from the Scholarship Secretariat in the past, the fourth estate asked in March 2021 for data on those who had been awarded scholarships in 2019 and 2020. Jesus. Listen, the focus was on those 2 years because an earlier audit covering 2009 and 2018 had found impropriety in Ghana Education Trust funds, that's the GET fund, administration of foreign scholarships after it usurped the work of the Scholarship Secretariat. That audit revealed how the political elite had unduly taken advantage of funding from the GET fund. When we made the request, the Secretariat initially refused to grant us the information, claiming the data was confidential. But the Right to Information Commission ordered that personal information should be redacted and the data released. The commission based its ruling on the premise that the scholarships were funded with public money. The information was released on February 8, 2022, almost a year after the fourth estate made the initial request. It showed that the Scholarship Secretariat has spent 237.5 million Ghana cedis and 200 million Ghana cedis in 2019 and 2020, respectively, on both foreign and local scholarships. Hallelujah. Watch this. Now, the Scholarship Secretariat, an agency under the office of the president, was established in 1960 with the primary purpose of providing scholarships to academically gifted but financially needy students. Following the country's liberation from colonial rule, the Nkrumah administration set up scholarship programs as a means to incentivize and attract top talents to bolster the nation's workforce by assisting citizens who lacked the financial means to fund their education. Dash it away. My brother, and when you read it further, it's heartbreaking. Bring the story back. Let me go a little further so you get a sense of betrayal that we have in this nation. Oh yes. Hey. It's serious. Next page. Go to the next page. Now watch this. It says, a major source of funding for the Scholarship Secretariat today is the GET Fund. Now the GET Fund Act requires the Scholarship Secretariat to allocate funds to support gifted but needy students, for students in second cycles and accredited tertiary institutions in Accra. Run it by you. Now, the Scholarship Secretariat website states that its mission is to utilize the government funds. But are they using and utilizing it properly? Go to the next page. My God. Now watch this. The second paragraph says, another beneficiary, Patience Owari Danso, received a stipend, 10,236 euros. That's an equivalent of 172,988.4 Ghana cedis, based on the current exchange rate of 14.5 cedis, to study for an MA program at the University of Cologne in Germany. There was even more. For Selwa or say every year, the Scholarship Secretariat considered the former student of one of the country's most expensive private schools, Ghana International School, needy enough to grant her £36,720 in 2019 alone. This was for her to fund her first degree at the University of Warwick in the UK after enrolling in 2017. By the time she completed her studies in 2020, there was a job waiting for her at no less a place than the office of the president. Yes. Did you hear that? She went to one of the most expensive schools in Ghana. Her parents were able to afford. When she completed, by some magic, her parents became poor all of a sudden. They had to go for poor people's funds to send her all the way to the University of Warwick. Interestingly, the moment she completed in 2020, she had a job waiting for her in the office of the president. Now, this is why I decided to do this story. This last paragraph. Courses are cheaper in Ghana. Now, the data we received showed that a substantial portion of the programs that the Scholarship Secretariat funded were offered by Ghanaian universities with much lower fees, which could help save money and ensure that more needy but brilliant students benefit from government scholarships. That's it. It's like a beggar who goes to a kitchen to say he's hungry, and he's given tuozafi and kobe. He says, no, I want pizza. That's a beggar who has a choice. My mother will call you a thief. Barao shege, barao banza. Listen, my brother, you want education. Somebody wanted 237 pounds to be able to do a master's program. He was denied. He applied for a PhD with the same results. He grabbed it, fully sponsored. Politicians and their ilk are able to force themselves into the chest of poor people and grab scholarships meant for poor people. Go out there, spend 10 times to 20 times what they would have spent in Ghana doing the same course. They are making foreign universities richer. They are making foreign countries richer. In our country, we continue to dwindle. Teachers realize that they are not respected that much. A lot of the people are getting scholarships to study abroad. They also decide to gain respect for themselves. So what do? They leave. Nurses have the same problem. The dirty politicians fall ill. They do not want their medical history to be out there. So they fly out of the nation and pay hard-earned money, most of the time, the taxpayers' money, to foreign doctors. So you see, we are a foolish country with foolish people. You claim you have no money. You rush to the IMF and the World Bank every now and then, begging for stipends. Yet where it matters most to keep the money in the house, you take it out and blow it up on frivolities. You see where we are. You see where we are, brethren. These are the things that get me angry. And when I speak, there are two things they say: that I have gone crazy because I smoke weed, or that I am funded by a political party. These are the two things. Fortunately, they've never been able to say Blakk Rasta stole a penny, or Blakk Rasta was caught in some kind of dubiousness. To God be the glory. How can you do this to your motherland? Give to our my brother bought a whole football club. It's called Barry's Ladies or so. The name has just been changed. A whole football club. Female football club. She bought it hook, line, and sinker from the treble all the way to the base. When she bought it, she all of a sudden considered herself poor, even though she was the deputy director of the National Service Secretariat or scheme. She got poor people's money to go and study in Germany, as you saw in that story, Cologne. In the days of Rawlings, he would proudly tie them to the firing squad and fill their bodies with bullets. Thank God we are not in those days anymore. It hurts me. My uncle would say a lot of brilliant students are thrown at the roadside, all because the rich and the greedy have decided to push away the needy so that they can continue to fatten their bellies. It hurts, my brother. A lot of the youth are flying out of the country. They do not want to study here anymore. When I bring a degree from Harvard, they respect me and give me more positions than when I bring one from Ghana's #1 university, the University of Ghana. It's because of some of these stupid things we do. Dash it. Oh. When we return, my brother, we got more. We would also be reading your messages when we return. Keep them coming in. Hey! Whoa! It's the Black Pot, aka Kokushono, and here we speak truth to power. To God be the glory. Next story, my youth. Economy would only recover on heavy consumption. And this is from Fitz. Fitch ratings. What is Fitch? Economy to recover on back of strong consumption. What does it mean? Come here, my youth. Watch this. Ghana's economy will enter a recovery phase this year as the government is expected to increase expenditure in an election year. Rating agency Fitch has predicted. It said the recovery will be driven by stronger private consumption. Going into the 2024 elections, many have expressed concerns that the government will overspend its budget, a situation which will derail the gains that have been made under the IMF program. With every election year characterized by huge budget overruns, the government has been cautioned to put in efforts to stay within its projected expenditure in the 2024 budget. Dash it. Need I say more? You see, yesterday we had a quote. If you haven't seen it yet, go to our Facebook page, you will see it. I said, and I was quoted as saying that politicians in Africa generally, especially Ghana, they intentionally keep us miserable and in pain. Enough misery and pain. So that when election comes and they dangle any rotten carrot in front of us, because of the pain and the misery we're going through, anything is valuable. We have no morals anymore, and our taste buds are all gone. So any little thing dangled in front of us, we grab that. My brother, two things they campaigned with to win power. One, free SHS. But when we come, we make sure that the free senior high school is truly free. And Ghanaians were excited. We clapped. Especially when the government in power, headed by Mahama at that time, was also performing so miserably. The government came out and said, oh, it's not possible. They can't do it in one way or the other. That was the communique that came out. And they said, we will do it. Two, there was doomsaw all over the place, like we are experiencing now. Sometimes for 3 days, you had no power. And before the power returned, should I say it? Excuse me. The morgue, morgue, you know what a morgue is? Mortuary. Dead bodies were rotting up. Some of our top hospitals here had vultures hovering over the morgue, all the morgues, because of the smell. Vultures were ready to descend on carcasses, human carcasses. It happened, you know that. Kolebu and some other hospitals. Dumso. So they said they would solve it. We voted them into power. The very first year that they came into power, they started with the SHS free. Today, I regret this dirty free SHS. Where students will go to school for 1 month and go and sit at home for another 17 million years. Students go to school, they are fed like slaves during the transatlantic slave trade. Students go to school and their best friends are mosquitoes, cockroaches, and bedbugs. I took my son to one of these schools. He came home with a lot of maps on his back. Maps, world map. And he told me that it's a badge of honor. A badge of honor. To go into the boarding house in Ghana, you must come out with a badge of honor. I asked him, did they whip you? He said, no. Did they whip you? He said, yes. What happened? He said, the bed bugs and mosquitoes whipped me. Bed bugs sucking hot human blood. Why? Teachers are not paid well. You go there, they say everybody must go to school, nobody should fail. For that matter, there's no dunderhead in school anymore. Everybody goes and passes. You go to school, 1 month, at most 2 months, they say come home so that another batch can go, so that you go home. And the girls are all getting pregnant. Is that the free SHS we phantomed? In my days, yes, we had shifts, morning and afternoon shifts, but we had different teachers teaching the afternoon and the day. The secondary school had nothing like a shift system until Nana Akufo-Addo came. Nothing like a shift system. We all went in and came out. The most brilliant went in there. Those who were not too brilliant, they got themselves in schools that were far away in the sea. At least, it tells you that if you want to get a good position, you must work hard. Today, no. Politicians and their connections will put you in top schools even if you have no brains. Today, my brother, my sister, this is what is happening to us. Our future leaders are treated like slaves in the transatlantic slave trade. Hey, what point is Blakk Rasta trying to make at all? Chaff in, chaff out. The leaders who are supposed to come and change this, this is what we are giving to them. They will come out and be worse. And statistics show us that almost every generation that comes is worse off than the generation that passed. Right here. Because we have no respect for generational thinking. How to better it for the next generation. Politicians treat all these people bad. They sorted out the Dumso problem for 7 years. Now 6 months to election. We are having problems in Ghana. Power is going off. I won't be surprised if I won't end this program. You will see light go off. Boom. No respect. You know why? They are keeping the money they would have used to fix the problem for the election. When the election comes, then they will come out. After all, the highest bidder is the one who is voted for. I'm waiting to see people win elections in Ghana without spending a penny. I'm waiting to see people use their brains. In my days in the secondary school, when we were competing for posts, we used common sense and brains. Today, go to the secondary schools. Some of them are promising them, oh, when you vote me into power, you have a full chicken for your breakfast. Where are you going to get the chicken from? You are a student. How are you going to get the chicken? Some of them even buy toffee and some other side thing, sardine, to come and give to people to vote for them. Secondary school level. If you are buying sardine and promising chicken at the secondary school for elections, then when you reach the national level, you will provide private jets. Jesus have mercy. Well, I'm sad. But they say the economy will do better because there would be a certain kind of expenditure. Politicians will bring their money now, spend on us, and the economy will get better. But after the economy gets better and the election is done, another tightening, and it becomes a routine foolishness. So election time, people get ready to get money. And when election is over, we are ready to fast again and go through the desert for another 40 years, expecting only manna to fall from the heavens for us to eat. Because we are a manna generation. A generation of cheap harlots and thieves. Dash it away, my Lord. When we return, your messages will be led, and then we shall have your final story. Hey! Wayo! Greetings, countrymen. My name is Blakk RASTA. When I was growing up as a child, there was something called a courtesy for boys and girls that helped to train us and raise us up in patriotism. But today, a lot of this patriotism has been lost. Today, our children are beginning to lose everything in terms of our heritage. They have lost out on our history, lost out on our greatness. It is on the bedrock of this I am embarking on a nationwide tour of patriotism. Remember, it's patriotism, not politics. We shall go to all the 16 regions of Ghana. And in every region, we will organize students and speak to them about patriotism. We will organize a small quiz competition where we shall give prizes out. And these prizes are going to be prizes that are souvenirs from Ghana. Right after that, we will organize a certain concert, either in the market space or even on the streets, accessible to everybody. And we will catch the music lovers and deliver the same message to them. It's on the bedrock of this. I would like you to be part of this. Please donate to this great cause. We are raising a next generation of patriots. It's the lack of patriotism that is making us steal from our own country. It's the lack of patriotism that makes us feel like when we steal from the government, we are stealing from space. It's the lack of patriotism that makes us owe allegiance to some foreigners more than us. It's the lack of patriotism that makes foreigners come into this country and behave like demigods, and we see them as such. My brother, my sister, donate so we can move out there. Maybe you want to give us something else in kind. We are ready for you. Our numbers are rolling on the screens, and you can donate into our bank account, or onto our phone number, and we will gladly appreciate and acknowledge you. This is the National Patriotism Tour that we have taken on ourselves to make sure that the nation, Ghana, stands tall again like before. My name is Blakk Rasta, and I thank you for listening. God bless you. Ghana shall prosper. Ghana will rise again. Bless you.
Go on, Skipper George.
Blackpot, Coco show man.
Bless you. Ghana shall rise again. Blessed. All right, so let's see your messages. Pixie, Messiah, Morris, all the way in America. How are you doing? You good? And of course, Jay Morris, how are you doing? Both of you are right there inside Connecticut. Kudus, how are you doing? King, and of course, David, how are you doing? Come here. And of course, to all of us reaching us outside Ghana, I want to greet you. As for those in Ghana, they've been greeted already. All right? Wanini boy says, welcome back, Blakk Rasta. Oyo. Benjamin Achu says, bless. Alexander Abambila says, Tuma, Blakk Rasta. It has been a while. I am glad to have time to watch you today. Watching you from Ontario, Canada. All right. Blessed love. Zacha Emmanuel says, welcome, Daddy. And Abdul Dashina. Shaba Amadou. He says, Alhamdulillah for your life. Greetings from Los Angeles. Blakk Rasta, may Allah keep protecting you and all that belong to you and beyond for the truth and power. Wayo. God's way, Jata says, come here. Wayo. Now, Bomb Pyramid says, religious but ungodly generation. I agree with you. No Bab says, people who love their country. Most of these politicians don't love Ghana. Yes, or Nkrumah's vision. And it says, your biggest hater is a Ghanaian, as a Ghanaian. All the resources with nothing to show. No Bab. All right. Thank you so much. Keep your messages coming. We're taking the last story. We're going to spend about 5 minutes on this, and we'll be done for the day. 8 Nana ADDO lawyers fingered for promotion. These are the 8 lawyers. Now, the first one there from the top was a junior of mine at the TI Ahmadiyya Secondary School, Kumasi. I'm sure I encountered some of the other people too there. Well, he was brilliant, and I believe that he deserves whatever position he's supposed to be getting. And for that matter, all of them. But when you live in a country where politics is everything, my brother, they push them in there so that they serve their whims and caprices. In case the election is rigged and they have to go to court, these are the same people who will stand for them. So the justice system becomes a mockery. Ghana's justice system is one of the most mocked in Africa and beyond, where the law can decide that let us deal with this case even though it came later, because they want to satisfy a certain old man in power. It's sad. Meet the 8 prominent lawyers Akufo-Addo has penciled to be justices of the Court of Appeal. Unfortunately, this is the man putting them there. So a lot of the time, they serve that man. They owe allegiance to the man, not the nation. Some members of the public have once again accused President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo of attempting to pack the courts of Ghana with members of his party, the New Patriotic Party, following his reported latest nomination of justices for the Court of Appeal. According to the dailyguidenetwork.com, a total of 20 persons, including 12 high court judges and 8 prominent legal practitioners, have been reportedly shortlisted for appointment as justices of the Court of Appeal of Ghana. Go to the next page. Let's look at the justices, those from his own party, who have shown their faces that they are members of this party. And one of them is most prominent, my mate, my schoolmate at Tiamade Secondary School. Next page. This is the first one. Mariam Ajiman Jesse Johari. Lawyer Mariam Ajiman Jesse Johari is the managing partner of the Totoi Legal Service and has been a lawyer in good standing for over 30 years. Congratulations. Jesse Johari's profile on the website of her firm indicates that her areas of expertise include conveyancing, land litigation, family law, corporate and commercial, as well as labor law. She is said to have previously worked as a part-time lecturer at the Ghana School of Law, teaching law of evidence, labor law, and conveyancing and drafting. She also worked as an administrator, mediator for the Kumasi Legal Aid Center for FIDA, Ghana, on a volunteer basis for 6 years between 1997 and 2003, while still engaged in active legal practice. She has also held several positions at the Ghana Bar Association, including National Assistant Secretary of the Association for 6 years, member of the National Bar Council, member of the Executive Committee of the Ashanti Branch of the Association, and the Representative Association on the Ashanti Regional Lands Commission for 8 solid years. That's her. The second person is Ya Onyamiye Jacobo. Ya Onyamiye Jacobo. This is the one with the most beautiful name. No European names, no Italian and Roman infiltrations. Seriously indigenous. Ya Onyamiye. It means God is good. Jacobo. I will find out what Jacobo means. Ya Onyamiye Jacobo was called to the bar in 1994. I was 20 years then. Meaning she has been a practicing lawyer for about 30 solid years. Next page. The next one is Charles William Zwins. Some of the names, you need to eat pizza before you pronounce them. Charles William Zwins, or this Zwins. Well, that's what it is. Next page, my brother. The next man here is Openyin Yaopong. That's him, also with an indigenous name. Congratulations, my brother. Yes, he studied oil and gas. In fact, he holds a master's degree in oil and gas. Law, that's LLM, from the Faculty of Law, University of Ghana, Legon. Oh yes, next page. This man, Nathan Parker Yane. Okay. Next one. So these are the lawyers. David Echampon Boafo. Yes, he's also one of those. And then this man here called Francis Kofi. Now to the man himself. This man here. In fact, listen. I went to the same school with him, Tiamade Secondary School, Kumasi. He was a very quiet boy. Quiet. Just like me. Very quiet. Dr. Poku Edusei is the head of legal, and his name is also a very powerful indigenous name, for the National Communications Authority. He was called to the bar in 2003, meaning he has about 21 years of experience as a lawyer. Run it, my youth. All right? He previously held positions such as Deputy Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority between 2017 and 2019. He has also previously served as a lecturer at the University of Ghana School of Law, where he taught intellectual property law, private international law, company law, and land law. He holds a PhD in law from McGill University in Canada. He also holds a Bachelor of Laws, LLB degree, and a qualified certificate in law. Remember, he was 1 year behind me at the secondary school, so he has really worked hard and ran fast because I don't have all those degrees. While I probably was busy hopping from one radio station to the other, he was hopping from one university to the other, grabbing the certificates. Is that all we have here? So the interesting thing is that he is in this Nana Akufo-Addo government. Bring back his photo. Yeah? He is in there, and He is the legal director of the communications, what of Nana Akufo-Addo in this government. When it came out that he had been penciled for a justice in our courts, he deleted his Facebook page because his Facebook page was full of NPP activism. NPP party, for that matter, he decided to delete it so that people will not say, oh, you see, this is an NPP activist and blah, 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 and blah. Maybe he was advised to do that as well. My brother, he might be qualified. He might be one of the best brains. But once you have taken strong sides like this, it makes it difficult for you to arbitrate properly. How many people understand? As a lawyer, somebody who is supposed to be arbitrating and adjudicating between feuding forces, if you are seen to take side with one, no matter how brilliant your judgment is, the other party might not accept it. I end it here. That's it. My name is Blakk Rasta, and I want to say thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you and we love you. Come here. It's been the Black Pot, aka Kuku Show No More, where we speak truth to power. And I want to say thank you, I appreciate you, and I love you. Let's look at the final comments, and then we are done. All right? Inu Safatau says, in fact, Blakk Rasta, you were sent by God Almighty to rescue this nation. You are the true patriot. But Ghanaians don't know this. Ghana will change if majority of us know who Blakk Rasta is and follow you. Well, Inusa, thanks for those compliments. Mohammed Banjia one says, the undisputed show is here to rewire the mindsets of the average African. Run the ready, my youth. And come here. You think say you be wise. Warrior. Signed MC Scorpion inside a Shyman. Me Ama Johnson says, as a result of greed and corruption on a grand scale, a country so rich but yet very poor is what our country is. Sad, really. Wanini Boy says, if BAWUMIA says he is only a mate, I am asking who is supposed to lead the car and who will take the lorry fare, who would say away bus, and so on. These are terms that we use in Ghana for the trotro. Nobab says they campaigned on Dumso and dollar rates. Stephen Ejiri said, I love you, Blakk Rasta. Love you too. Nobab.